Hey everybody, it's your friend James Shaw. Trust you're doing okay. And we're going to do what we do, which is talk to amazing agents doing amazing things. And we're going to talk to one today who has found a way to stay on track doing the stuff that matters. Renae, this is one of the things that prevents people from succeeding is all the distraction and getting away from the key activities. You found a way to stay on target. We're going to talk about your system in a minute, but will you first introduce yourself to everybody, tell them who you are and where you're from and a little bit about your business?
Absolutely. So, hey, everyone, I'm Renae Quigley with Keller Williams in the Columbia Mason Market in Eastern Washington. I have been with Keller Williams for 4 years now. I am a wife, a mother, and a grandmother to 7 amazing grandkids ranging in age from 14 all the way down to 3.
Did I hear that? Did I just learn something about you? Did you tell me you have 7 grandchildren, Renae?
I do.
There's no chance. Don't believe it for a second.
I do. Yep.
I bet you're an awesome grandma. You do great at it. Very cool. Well, you have a great business too. You started as an assistant for a rainmaker.
Yeah.
The jump from assistant to a rainmaker to now top producing agent yourself. You're in the top 20 in your market center. That's a big jump. Tell us a little bit about how you made that transition happen.
Well, I've always been a very motivated and driven person. And so, when I got into real estate, I knew, in fact, that very first day that I had my interview with my rainmaker, I told him, I'm not going to be content being an executive assistant for a very long period of time. I'm going to want to get my license. I'm going to want to participate in every aspect of real estate. And I'm going to want to be a top producer. And so it just all kind of happened exactly that way. I was an EA for 2 years. And then when that commitment was fulfilled, I went out on my own as a solo agent and have never looked back.
Well, good for you. I'm proud of you for it. You, of course, get up early every day and participate in the mastermind call we do here inside of Pivot Shift Ahead, which is at 8 o'clock Eastern. So that's 5 o'clock a.m. for you. Of course, you're a member of our Inspire community, which is my private mastermind. And some of the tools that we're going to talk about today, you're going to share with that group. But let's set this up. So recently, inside of Pivot Shift Ahead, I asked this question: what is the biggest challenge that you were facing in your business? Renae, let me tell you some of the answers that came across. Okay. This person said consistency. All right, consistency. Someone else said staying focused. Another person said consistency. I can't seem to get on track or get my head in the game. I know what I need to do, but I have this block about it. And I have trouble sticking to it. I imagine that's something that is a challenge for a lot of people, was probably a challenge for you at times. And so you built a system around it. But did you find that as you were building the business, getting consistent in the things that matter was a challenge?
Well, it absolutely is, because you're tempted, because the consistent things are not really all that sexy. They're not all that fun. It can be kind of boring, right? And so the challenge is to be distracted by all of the other bright, shiny objects. But what I found is that the more distracted I got, the more unproductive I became. And so I knew that in order for me to realize my potential and to maximize my productivity, I needed to be focused. I needed to have a system that I could follow on a daily basis that would keep me on the right track and not be distracted constantly.
Yeah, so remove the distraction, keep it simple, because we tend to make things complicated. So you've done that. You've kept it simple. You developed this 5x5 program. We're going to share some of the actual tools that you're using with our Inspire community, but you're going to tell everybody about it so they can implement. But tell us a little bit about your program and what it is. I know it has you excited. You're all choked up about it, but tell us a little bit about the 5x5 that you set up and how it works and what it's doing for you.
Okay. First of all, I have to apologize. I have developed allergies, I believe. It's either allergies or a cold. And so I'm coughing and sneezing a little bit. And so I apologize for that.
It's all good. It happens to everybody. It's totally fine. Yeah, it's totally fine.
Awesome. So, the system that I developed was really it's a combination. It's an entire program. It's called Leaning into Lead Gen. And it takes all of the best of Keller Williams systems and programs and puts it in one place. So we have Bold's laws in it. We have the 15th protocol, and now the 5th protocol is going into it. We have the 66-day challenge in it. We've got affirmations in it. And then we have our daily tracker, which is our daily 5x5 system that tells me systematically using the DTD2 system who I need to call, what actions I need to take to not just stay in touch and stay in front of my people, but to also to build my database and track the rest of my activity for the day.
Yeah, so it's leaning into the systems that we already have in KW, put them in one spot to help you succeed and win.
Yeah,
how's
absolutely.
that help you?
Well, you know what it's done, and you laughed about it. I think it was yesterday morning on our early bird call. What it's done is it has given me a pipeline of business that I have said has been a little constipated, because it's getting me in front of people that are that are willing to do business sometime now and in the future. So it has given me, I think I'm sitting at about 24 transactions now that it has put into my pipeline to be, so that I know to stay in front of these people, to be in communication with them, and just bringing value to them on a consistent basis.
It's really smart. I think it's funny yeah, that's a funny line. But the truth is, we want to look at our pipeline and see business down the road. Yeah. We want business today, but we want business tomorrow. And we want business next month. We want business next quarter. We want business next year. So, hey, 24 deals in the pipeline makes you feel pretty good. I had a meeting with Gary Keller not long ago, and I asked him, I said, I find that a lot of agents in this market are really nervous right now. Are you finding the same thing? And he said, yes. He said, the agents who aren't nervous have one of two things, or maybe both of these things. Either A, they have reserves in the bank, so they're not freaking out about closings, or they have leads in the pipeline. And you've got both of those things. So when you've got both of them, you feel pretty good about yourself. So in order to get leads in the pipeline, you have to be able to do the work. And I think that's where your 5x5 comes into play. So can you walk us through what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So in this 5x5 system, it gives you 5 categories of ways to be able to contact people. So you have your DTD2. And so you guys all know
we're going to time out because we got to tell the people what is DTD2, because I promise you someone is in the chat right now, Renae, going, what is DTD2? Even though we talk about it all the time. Will you tell them what it is? Sure.
So DTD2 is from Never Ending Referrals, and it is a system that we use, or we are doing the database 2, DTD2. And so it breaks down the alphas by last name of everyone that's in your database, and it tells you on a weekly basis who you need to call, so that you eliminate call bias and you get through your entire database by, with a phone call every 13 weeks.
All right. So that's the first part of your 5 is to make sure that you're following the DTD2 schedule for the week. That's kind of play number 1. Tell us the rest of the system.
Right. So I should say within the DTD2, so you've got 5 calls, you've got 5 texts, and you have 5 social media messages. So there's 15 contact opportunities right there. Okay. And then from there, it's 5 calls to business people. So this is how you're going to grow your referral network and your vendor network by reaching out to 5 businesses and setting appointments to learn more about what they do in their business and how you can be ideal referral partners with each other. So that's the next step. The next 5 is going to be 5 calls that you are going to make to people that are either FSBOs, they're expireds, they're people that you're following up with that maybe reached out to you from a yard sign call, something of that nature. So these are generally going to be people that you don't know, right? That you're going to follow up with. And so that's the next 5. From there, you're going to send out 5 birthday cards to people in your database, which means you need to be looking forward in your database to know whose birthdays are coming up, 3 to 5 days, down the road. And then you've got 5 thank you cards that you're writing to people. Now, they don't have to be a thank you card. It could be, hey, I was just thinking about you and just wanted to touch base and see how you're doing. Hope this brings a smile to your day. It can be a card for anything. But if you do all 5 categories and 5 contacts in each category, you actually end up with 40 contact attempts a day.
It's really smart. All right. So you're following your DTD2 schedule. It's 5 calls, 5 texts, and 5 social media DMs. So there's 15 contacts to that group.
Mhm.
I want to make sure I got it all. Then you're going to do 5 a day reaching out business to business owners, vendors, just to build relationships and see if you can add value. Tell me about those conversations. What's a business to business conversation look like for you?
Well, that conversation actually follows the 5-star script that's in Never Ending Referrals that says, hey, Mr. Business Owner, I was just talking to our mutual friend, and they shared with me the 5-star experience they recently had with you. And so I would love an opportunity to take 15 minutes of your time this week or next week to learn more about your business and why you have this 5-star rating, and to see how I can best refer you to my clients in the future.
Oh, I like it. You could do videos with these people as well down the line to build up some social media stuff. There's lots of opportunity there. All right. So we have your DTD2 stuff, your business to business. The area 3 is follow up, or it could be cold calls. It could be circle prospecting. It could be door knocking for an open. It could be anything you want, but that's your catch-all, right? That's your catch-all. All right. And then your 5 birthday cards a day. Maybe you didn't have enough birthdays, you do home anniversary, whatever. And then 5 just because note cards. All right. So this is a bunch of stuff. You do this every day, Renae. This is part of who you are and what you're about. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I don't do it, I feel like something's missing in the day, right?
Yeah.
Because in Command, I have a follow-up system within DTD2 that says it rotates the type of contact. And sometimes it will rotate to, hey, James, it's your friend Renae, just touching base to make sure you got the card that I sent you. I hope it brightened your day. So if I don't
that's part of your follow-up, could that be go in the catch-all category, I guess, maybe if you send a birthday card, you call them the birthday or something like that?
Yeah, actually, when I reach out to my people that have birthdays, I do call them to wish them a happy birthday, but I actually sing happy birthday to them.
Well, who doesn't?
They do. They really, really love it. They really love it because sometimes I'm the only person that sang happy birthday to them for the day.
Story. Yeah, no doubt about it. Okay. So what have the results been since you have implemented this? This is I'd say relatively new thing for you. It's something you've started within the last year. Is that right, Renae?
Yeah, we actually started the official program in January. I have been doing it sporadically. I wasn't being real consistent. And again, my consistency conviction came with something that you said to our Pivot Shift group in December. And so I knew that if I wanted to have even the same level of business that I had last year, let alone an increase, I needed to be serious about my daily activity. Yeah.
So what's happened since you've implemented this and gotten consistent, Renae?
Well, since I've implemented this, as I said, there's right now, I've got 10 people in my pipeline for future business. And we've done 7. Actually, I'm going to finish out the year or finish out this month with 9 transactions year to date. So we've got 19 pieces of business, potentially to finish the year off with. And then we've got about 4 or 5 pieces of business already in the pipeline for the upcoming year.
I mean, listen, we can't argue with that, plus more coming in 2024.
Right.
What advice would you give to somebody that isn't consistent, that doesn't have anything like this and just is very sporadic? What advice would you give? Because it sounds like you may have been sporadic as well, and now you've gotten more consistent. So what would you tell them?
I would just say that, while it might be a little bit uncomfortable, you just need to start somewhere, and you need to start now. Because you can still redeem the year. Your year's not over yet. And, we've talked about on our Inspire calls, the next 45 days are extremely important. So start the activity, follow this system. And I promise you are going to get results from it. And you might surprise yourself and get the results very, very quickly from it. So just start.
I love it. Tracking is a key component for this for you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show everybody the tracker that you're using because I think it's helpful. And we're going to share this with all of our Inspire members. So if you're an Inspire member, you'll have access to it too. But this is your tracker. And I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit. I can't with the way I have it. But this is your daily report. Tell us a little bit about this report and how you use it.
Okay. So you can't see it on your screen, but at the very bottom, you see total attempts, total contacts, And so this is where you're tallying your activity for the day. So every time I make an attempt, whether I talk to them or not, I'm making a check mark. I'm putting a tally mark there, right? And then if I've talked to someone, then next to their name, I'm going to put a check mark that says I actually had a two-way conversation with them. So your attempts and your contacts are going to look different each day. Okay. And then if I set an appointment, I'm going to tally the appointments. The appointments kept is ongoing information for the day. If I got listing agreement signed, buyer's agency agreement signed, that information gets tallied here as well. If I got referrals or I'm speaking to someone new and added them to the database, I'm tracking that information. Any CMAs that I have done as a result of this and I've completed are tracked. And then I've got a space there for other, which is a catch-all for whatever else you want to put there. And then a closed GCI that I might have had for the day. So this stays with me all day. It's bound in a really large honeycomb, binder. And it goes with me everywhere.
Renae, I love it. So at the bottom, you're making, this is, hey, you made a dial, you put a tally mark here. Mm-hmm. You set an appointment, they picked up, you put a tally mark here. If you set an appointment, so on and so forth. Up at the top, mm-hmm. This is where you're writing down who it was you called, who it was you texted, and who you sent a DM message to,
right?
Who the business to business was, and so on and so forth. Under this cold call section, you circle what it is and write down who you talked to. It's great. Yeah. Then here, activity notes. Is this where you're writing down new people you met, follow-up notes for you, stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm putting all that information there rather than going back and forth into command to try to do it, because you lose momentum when you do that. And squirrel, you're on your computer. So now let's get on social media. So when I do this, I already have my DTD2 schedule for the entire week printed up. And that's in front of me at the same time that I have this report in front of me. So I'm working off of paper. I'm not working off of the computer. I'm working off of paper. I'm writing any of my activity notes down for the conversations that I had or things that I need to fulfill. You'll notice back on page 1 at the bottom, some of that activity is highlighted. So if they want a monthly market update, I'm going to highlight their name so I know I need to add them to that. Or if it's a listing presentation or a buyer presentation, there are different colored highlights there. So I can just look at my tracking sheet and go, oh, I need to do a buyer presentation for this person, or I need to do a listing presentation for this person. Whatever it is I need to do is already there. And then any additional notes goes on the back page so that when I'm finished with my lead gen time, all of the notes get put into command at one time.
So good. And it's how it's supposed to be done. When you look at kind of the 3 hours that Gary teaches us and has taught us forever, he talks about it in MREA, he talks about it in Shift. He said the 3 hours is made up of 3 elements, right? You have your prepare time, which is figuring out who you're going to call and who you're going to reach out to. You have your action, which is doing the stuff. And then you have your maintain. And the maintain includes logging what you did. Right. What most people do is, who am I going to call the person, document what I did. That takes too long. We want to figure out who we're calling, do all that at once. Then call all the people, then schedule the maintenance and follow-up. So your system is absolutely great. And again, we're going to share the spreadsheet with everybody who's in Inspire. And if you're not in Inspire, I just showed it to you. You can pause the video and go make it your own darn self if you want. But it's all there for you. All right. So this has clearly helped you. It's a system that you can use. It's mobile, so you can take this sheet and take it with you and use it. So what other things would you want to say as we wrap up about how this system has helped you get consistent and what it might do for somebody else?
Well, I would just say that it's really very simple. Gary says real estate is simple, but it's not easy. This is simple. You can implement this today. And because you're tracking the information, you can see now, what your conversion rates look like. You can see how many calls do you need to make before you actually speak to someone, right? You now have tangible data that you can use and apply in your business going forward and make any adjustments as you need to.
Yeah, the key about this is now you know all your conversion rates. You know how many contacts or how many calls it takes to get a contact. You know how many contacts it takes to get an appointment. You know how many appointments it takes to get a listing and so on. Now you make the business predictable. You can watch for changes in those rates. But if you've got a page for this every day, at the end of every month, you could just go back and do the math. How many calls did I make this month? How many contacts did I get from those calls? How many appointments did I schedule? And how many listings did I take? You know your conversion rates, Renae. It does. It makes your business predictable.
Yeah. And it also takes the takes the anxiety off of you. You know, so when I'm done by the end of the day, by 1 o'clock, if I don't have appointments, then you know what? I did my job. And I don't feel guilty if I'm going to take some time off to like go get my nails done or take my grandkids to the park or something, right? I'm not a slave to my business because
That's great, Share.
I'm doing my
Renae,
work.
you're awesome. Thank you for sharing this with us. Congratulations on getting consistent, getting it implemented, and now you're starting to see results. And hopefully it's going to help some other people inside our community as well. Thanks so much. You're the best.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me, James.
You got it. See everybody. Bye-bye.